most importantly, we've got the entire crew and the man in first place, Manny Gonzalez from USA Insurance. Manny, how are you feeling, man?
Well, it's early in the season, but I want to just say, talk about being normal. It's really great to assemble with you guys on Friday at 11 o'clock. I look forward to coming here because this is normal, right? in a desperate search for normal. So thank you guys, and thank you very much. And I hope that I can hold on to first place a little longer than I know. I've been in this place before. I just don't stay there long.
Well, he got some help from Notre Dame and Las Vegas last week. I'm going to call him Oakland. I'm pretty sure all season long. So, we'll see how it goes this week. Brandon Burley from Desert Sun Auto Group, you're in second place. I mean, you guys kind of switched places from the right side of the sheet to the left side of the sheet.
Yeah, I like it. It's just a little different, you know. I mean, I was talking earlier, like I don't know exactly how many years I've been doing this, but I think this is the first time I've seen Manny in the #1 spot. So. Congrats, Manny.
It's week 2, guys. It's just week 2. Right?
I think after
let's don't get too short.
Hey, after 40 years of doing this, man, I'm glad to see you moving this side. You know?
It's only been 33 years.
I was exaggerating a little.
Would there be anything more 2020 than Manny winning the Roundtable? I mean, I tell you what,
that would be spot on. That would be.
This is the year, baby.
In a year of weird. Why not?
That's just wrong.
All right. Tim Brock from Christ Community Church. Tim, how you doing, man? Not so good on the sheet, but I'm sure good otherwise.
Well, I was going to say, in a year of abnormal, this is very normal. Tim Brock not picking great picks. I go with my heart too much. I go with the Cowboys too much. And again, all these teams, they just don't love me back. I roll the dice with some underdogs, and they get blown out. I roll the dice with teams that should win, and they lose on bad offensive pass interference calls. So this is what happens to me, Charles.
It's all good.
I like to hang in the middle. I don't get made fun of for being Jake at the bottom, and I don't get the pressure of Manny at the top. This is where I want to be, flying low.
Jake, you were
the first time I've been in the back.
You were defending champion last week, and now you're in last place.
Last year.
And Tim couldn't help but just get in there.
I am still 2019 champion. Still, and I want my trophy.
I am working on that. Jake Roberts, by the way, with Remax and Alamogordo along with us this morning, and looking forward to, and we've decided to also throw in the spread as our sixth member, and the spread last week. And what I do is basically whoever the odds makers pick as the favorite, that's who we pick for them. And they went 8-8 last week, so. You know, it was a difficult week. I feel like if the odds makers had that much of a problem, then I don't think we should feel too bad about 6-10, 5-11, things like that. So,
you know,
thank you for that solace there,
Yeah.
Charles. I appreciate it.
You know what was weird though? If you looked at the college games, that other than Notre Dame and OU, all of the other college games that we picked was against the spread.
yeah, it was kind of when I went through and looked at that, I was like, we kind of had some weird ones in there. So it.
Well, yeah, because like I said, I did very little research last week. I was literally on a plane when I got here, and it was more along the lines like, I'm just going to take the favorites because I don't know. And Vegas led me astray desperately. Not that I'm like some genius. We've already established that's not here at this table. Understood. But yeah, I was like, I went with the spread. 5-11? It was terrible. I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, once again this week we don't, with the exception of Notre Dame, that's the only team of our teams that we follow here on the show that are actually playing this week. But I didn't put them on the pick sheet because they're 26-point favorites, Manny. But your Irish didn't have a problem last week, and they'll try to roll through South Florida coming up this week.
Still a little concerned about the slow start.
Yeah.
It takes them a while to get into gear, and we're going to have to go faster and harder earlier in the game because the competition we'll be facing in the future is just immense. So, but glad Irish got the win.
All right, well, we'll start off with you. You always talk about being fans of the academies, and one of the academies heads down to Louisiana to play Tulane, and they're actually 6.5-point underdogs. They're trying to bounce back after having a tough time against BYU a couple weeks ago. Yeah, that was Labor Day weekend.
56-3.
Yeah,
56-3.
So they're going to try to bounce back this week. But I tell you what, the Green Wave, they're pretty solid this year.
Yeah, the midshipmen. I did not recognize that football team. I don't think anybody did. They couldn't do anything right, and I don't know what to attribute it to. Going down New Orleans, Tulane is favored by 7. Over and under is 49. I'm going to be rooting for Navy, but I'm going to pick the Green Wave.
Okay. Brandon.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tulane at home as well. Maybe these Louisiana schools are going to have a good year this year.
Could be. Never know. Tim.
Yeah, Tulane was pretty good last year. Navy was horrendous in their first game. They got a great coach, though, so I would expect Navy to improve over the course of the season. But a week later, they weren't even tackling, right? Like, all off-season. So they've had a week of tackling now.
Yeah.
And Tulane is much improved. So I'm going to go with Tulane.
Jake.
I'm sure I'm going to regret this pick, but even though they are 7-point dogs, I'm still taking Navy. In head-to-head matchups, Navy's actually beat Tulane 6-4. So I just think that hopefully Navy's going to come and just show me something a little different this week.
It very well could
like
be.
it.
I think here's the other thing about it. Spreads, and with it being Louisiana, I would bet there's probably going to be some fans in the crowd Tulane. But the home field advantage is going to be an interesting thing to watch this year. I think especially in the NFL, because it's hard to know whether that's going to really have an advantage without having fans in the stands in a lot of places. So that one's going to be difficult to try and figure throughout the year. And Navy's coming off kind of a weird week. Kendi Amatololo, the coach for Navy, he didn't agree with the fact that Air Force basically was going to get to play 2 games this year for a chance to compete in the Commander-in-Chief's trophy, and he felt like that there was maybe some politicking going on there. So he apologized afterwards and basically said he didn't know the entire situation. Air Force, I'm sure, would love to be able to play 12 games. They just don't have, because the Mountain West decided to stop their season, they didn't really have the option on all of that. So all that being said, I think Tulane at home. I was impressed with their win last week, and I think I need to see something from Navy first after what happened with them in BYU. It just I feeling they're a better football team than what we saw there, but I think we'll see what they can do this week against Tulane. All right, this is probably the game of the week. Miami and Louisville, a couple of ranked teams, which the rankings are a little a little wonky because we obviously don't have a lot of teams that would normally be in those rankings right now, but they are 2 ranked teams playing each other. 2.5 points going to Louisville. They are the home team in this game. Miami Hurricane fans have been desperately waiting for that program to return to some type of prominence. For a couple years ago, I think after they beat Notre Dame, everybody was like, "Oh, they're back. The U is back." And by the end of the season, everybody was not saying that. So, any type of real excitement, I think I would probably hold off of when it comes to the Canes, but. I've always kind of identified as my big school team has been Miami. Also, I'll pick first. It's also one of the harder games. I didn't want to stick Brandon with one of the harder games right out the bat.
I'm fine with sticking him with a hard game. It doesn't bother me one bit.
I think just out of loyalty, I'm going to go Miami, but I think this is a coin flip kind of game. Mm-hmm. And more importantly, I hope it is an entertaining game. I'd like to see this one be fun down the stretch. Manny?
Yeah, the Cardinals are favored by 2.5. The over and under 64.5. But the football power index is giving it to the Cardinals by 77%. That's too big a number to ignore. I'm going to have to go with Louisville and the home field advantage.
Brandon?
One of my best friends, Keith, was a huge Louisville fan, and 8 years ago today he passed away. So, and I think Louisville is a better team. Other than that, I'm taking Louisville on this one for him.
All right. Tim?
Wow. Yeah, this will be a good game. What is it? Miami's ranked 17, Louisville's ranked 18. I don't know, man. This is such a crazy season. It's off to a strange start. Nobody knows anything. So I'm going to go Louisville as well just because they're at home, and Miami always disappoints. So since the 90s. The 90s, they were great.
Early 2000s, they were okay.
I like the Cowboys. They were great when we were kids, and so Charles likes them, and now he's like, I should have gone with somebody more like Alabama.
That is so true.
No, that's what happens. That's why he's a Braves fan. They were great in the 90s when he was a kid. So I'm a Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a Florida Gator fan.
I pick poorly. Instead of picking the Cowboys, I picked the Bills. So, I mean, I clearly...
Well, they were good in the 90s as
They were,
well.
but my point is, if I'd gone... Well, that's not necessarily true, because ever since the mid-90s, being a Cowboys fan has been rather frustrating. Would you agree with that, sir?
Well, yeah. The Bills and Cowboys are apples to apples.
Yeah.
I mean, they were
least
great in the 90s. They were in the Super Bowl 4 straight years.
Yeah.
But then some of us grew up and moved on,
I stay loyal to my teams. I can't help myself.
help it.
I do root for New Mexico State first when it comes to that stuff, because I would.
It's almost a different league, though.
Yeah, it's not. I don't. They're not in the same It's not the same at all. Because like New Mexico State making a bowl game and winning it at the Arizona Bowl was like the best thing to happen to that program, and probably will be for a very, very long time. So
That was cool.
Jake.
You know what? Actually, I was kind of impressed by Miami's quarterback last week. Ran for like over 350 yards, which is not always a good thing. But it's interesting that he was able to put up those kind of numbers. Miami actually lost to Louisville last year, 52-27. I think they're going to come back for some revenge. I'm going to take Miami in this one.
Oh, I'm only with Jake. I'm a little scared about that one.
You should be scared.
So let me give you Jake's trap. You're about to get trapped, Jake. I've been there. You had a bad start, and now you're going to go against your norm, and you're going to go with underdogs, and you're going to find yourself going further and further to the right.
I'm glad that you've acknowledged that I am picking.
I'm proud of you.
Because I do want to have that conversation, but most of these I'm not going with the underdogs. There's just a couple where I was like, I think I've got this one.
I like
but
it. I like
I
it.
normally get accused of the other way, so I
It's
appreciate
true.
that.
And for our listeners, when we talk about being on the left, on the right, we're not making a political position. What we're talking about is the logistic position on the sheet, the pick sheet that we look at.
Yes, and first place is on the left, and last place is on the right. So
And I desperately want to get back on the left.
I feel like that's a good clarification.
We read in English left to right. This isn't Hebrew right to left.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Houston and Baylor. Baylor getting a 4-point favor in this game. I think a good matchup here. You know, Houston's been a solid program out of the American Conference over the last couple of years. Baylor obviously has been very good under Matt Rule, where he went off to the NFL, coaching for Carolina now. But he completely turned that program around after the mess after Art Briles. So Baylor is certainly on the right track now. In Waco, it's not much of a road trip for Houston. I think this is going to be a really entertaining game. Just 4 points going to the Bears in this game. They're in your conference. Are you going to pick Baylor there, Brandon?
Actually, I am.
Okay.
I mean, you were saying that the Miami Louisville might be like the matchup. I think this is probably actually going to be the matchup of these teams right here this week. I think this is going to be a fun game to watch. You know, Houston's, you know, they're legit too. So, I think it's going to be a fight. Baylor at home. I'm gonna go with them just because they're at home.
Manny, what's the over/under on this one?
Over and under is 62.5.
Gosh, I figured it'd be higher than that, actually. I figured they'd both be in the 40s. Tim.
And with a lack of an opportunity to prepare and watch film on these two teams, because both of them were scheduled to play different schools, COVID got in the way of that. So for the first time in 25 years, Houston and Baylor is going to play, which is shocking, right? They're like 2 hours away from each other, and they haven't played in 25 years. Needless to say, I'm going to go with Dana Holgerson. I think he's the better coach because I don't know who Dave Aranda is, and that's my logic. So I'm going to go with Houston.
I want to say he was on Rule's staff, but I could be wrong on that they hired from within after last season.
I don't know.
Jake.
Similar logic to Tim here. I don't know anything about the Houston program whatsoever, so I'm sticking with Baylor.
Okay.
But I went with Houston.
You did.
So how is that similar logic? Okay, because we have no logic.
Coach.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
yeah,
You
you
know
say
you're a coach. I don't know Houston. I know Baylor.
I love picking on Jake. It's like my favorite. It's like it keeps the show entertaining.
That's as well it should be. I'm here for comedic value. And I do like to win.
And you have one.
I'm going to go. There's part of me also wonders if Baylor. I think they had a pretty heavy senior class last year, so they're kind of retooling a little bit. I'm going to go with Houston. Not a pick I feel particularly strong about, but it's a 4-point spread, so obviously nobody's feeling particularly strong about this one. Manny?
Well, I think Tim's point about the disruption in the schedule, because I was a little confused. This is a reshuffling of the schedule, and I think the game planning part of this game that coaches have to do, that disruption could affect the outcome of this game. Baylor Bears are favored by 4, but the Football Power Index really thinks it's 62% Baylor Bears, so I'm going to go with them in Waco.
Appalachian State going to Marshall. Everybody kind of, well, I should take that back. Appalachian State's in North Carolina, but it's still kind of the same area. And I think a fun matchup here between two teams that are in, I think, similar areas, or some similar areas, but the powers of their conferences are not too far off. App State is getting 4.5. It's impressive when you look at the lineage of this program and where it came from. I think the first time we all heard about Appalachian State was when they beat Michigan back in 2007, and they've they've come to the top level of college football and become a ranked team and very competitive. And Marshall, of course, has a story within our country that we all are aware of. So I think two programs that people are aware of, and I think should be a pretty entertaining game. Another one. I think most of the games we have on our sheet, most should be entertaining. They're certainly going to be close. I don't know, entertaining, at least on some of them. Tim.
Yeah, I think you did a good job kind of preparing the way for this, because that's really what I know about Appalachian State and Marshall. I've watched the documentary on Marshall. I know Appalachian State beat Michigan on a blocked field goal.
Yeah.
That is literally the knowledge I have. And I think Randy Moss went to Marshall, right?
He did, and so did Chad Pennington. And
yeah, when he got carried down the field because he was broken, and he
Byron Leftwich too.
Oh, Byron Leftwich is who I'm thinking of. Yes, yeah. Chad Pennington, who played for the Jets in Miami. Yep. Needless to say, I don't know. I'm gonna go Appalachian State. It's hard for me to say, so I'm gonna say it.
Okay.
That's my logic.
All right, Jake.
I've never actually seen the documentary. It's been something that I've been wanting to do, and I just never have gotten around to it. I'm going to go ahead and stick with Appalachian State on this one, but maybe I'll do a little bit of research and watch the documentary.
What about the movie? We Are Marshall.
We're talking about the movie? Yeah, you should see We Are Marshall.
I've never seen it.
It's not the best football movie, but I think they did a pretty good job with it, I feel like. I'm going to go Appalachian State. I think they're a little bit stronger right now. They've, at least the last couple of years, they've been a bit better. But Marshall's had a good program, and I want to say, because I believe Marshall and West Virginia were supposed to play, and I don't know, they were coming up on, I don't think it's the exact anniversary of the plane crash. There was something that they were going to be celebrating. Obviously, that's not something to celebrate. Commemorate would probably be the right word. But yeah, I'm a little. I have to look and see what there was going to be a plan, but obviously things kind of messed it up with what's going on in 2020. But I'll go App State. Manny?
This game is really almost too close to call. That 4.5 for the Mountaineers, I'm a little bit perplexed by that. I think it's closer than that. I'm going to go Thundering Herd just because I like saying that.
Brandon?
Well, Appalachian State not only has the Alamogordo A,
yeah.
That's it, man. I thought
that's
Manny was
something.
going to steal that one. Because that's how Manny's logic usually is. So I thought, great, he didn't use it, so I get to use it. It has exactly like the Alamogordo A, but I haven't watched them play, but they supposedly have a great running game. So with that, I'm going to go Appalachian State.
Okay. All right, one more we'll pick before the break. Another ACC game. Wake Forest headed to NC State. 1.5 going to NC State. The Demon Deacons. Not much of a road trip here, as is with most of the Tobacco Road schools, with Wake Forest and Duke and North Carolina and NC State. This is probably the longer road trip out of the bunch. But I think another one that's difficult to pick. Neither one of these teams have been particularly strong in the ACC in recent years. And I think more than anything else, it's probably a bragging rights game among these schools. So, Jake, who you got?
So Wake Forest lost last week to Clemson, arguably, top team in the NCAA. Yeah, they're ranked number 1. They're a really good team, and I think that experience is going to carry over. I think the fact that they showed up. They didn't.
Yeah, they didn't get blown out.
Yeah, they didn't get blown out. They did show up. I mean, it's not like an Alabama 70-point,
There have been some games Clemson have done that to teams too, like 77-0.
So I don't think NC State has played at all yet this year. This will be their first game. So I'm going to go ahead and think that Wake Forest has, they've gotten a little bit of beating, a little bit of tackling underneath their belt. So hopefully they're going to look a little bit better this game than maybe an untested NC State.
I'm going to go with the Wolfpack. Another one that I think, I don't know if home's going to make a difference. This is so hard. It used to be you could kind of depend on somebody being the home team in one of these games. It's just a coin flip kind of game, and I'm going to go with the Wolfpack, but very, very close matchup. Manny?
Yeah, the home field advantage, while the volume of noise and the crowd support, et cetera, is different, but still, you're able to follow your home game protocols and processes. You're not getting on buses or airplanes and stuff like that. And so I think that is still an advantage. I'm going to go Wolfpack as well.
Brandon?
I'm going to go with Wake Forest on the road.
And Tim?
Man, I really think Wake Forest is probably better than I want to give them credit for, but they're 4-8, or NC State was 4-8 last year. I think they're going to rebound, and one of my best friends is a huge NC State fan, so Jake, this is for you. Not Jake in the booth, Jake Pierce, going for NC State. But you are one of my better friends here, Jake.
That was
You're definitely one of my top 5 friends on this show. this was MySpace, you'd be in the top 5.
And with
Got
that,
voted 6 or 5 people, so we're good.
and with that, we'll go to a commercial break. We're coming back with more of the KNMZ Football Roundtable right after this.
USA Insurance Incorporated and Charles Garland and Harris Agency have joined together to create a new insurance team in Otero County. We will continue the personal service that you have come to expect, and we promise to continue to earn the trust that you have placed in us in the past. Now bigger and better than ever, USA Insurance, Charles Garland and Harris Agency, under the big red roof at 3310 North White Sands Boulevard, across from the White Sands Mall in Alamogordo. Call us at 575-439-9999 or visit online at myusainsurance.net.
Hey, Otero County, if you are looking for a place to belong and for a place to grow in your relationship with God and with the people of God, then I want to invite you to Christ Community Church. At Christ Community, you will discover and walk in your divine purpose, which is to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. On Sunday mornings, we have 3 service encounters, 8:30, 10, and 11:30. We hope that you will come and experience the love of Christ and the fellowship of His people. 2960 North Scenic Drive, or streaming online on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and at ChristCommunityAlamo.org.
Desert Sun Auto Group here in Alamogordo has your vehicle needs covered. Whether you're looking for a Chevrolet, GMC, Buick, Cadillac, Toyota, Honda, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram, Desert Sun's professional, knowledgeable staff is here to make sure you're taken care of. We're proud supporters of the Tularosa Basin sporting programs from Pee Wee Leagues all the way up to high school. If you're in the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle, I invite you down to Desert Sun and see why we get voted #1 auto dealer year after year by the people of Otero County. Also, if you're looking for a service center that you can trust and depend on, Desert Sun has the most experienced technicians in the area with several decades of experience. So when it comes to getting your vehicle serviced, trust the factory trained technicians with years and years of experience here at Desert Sun Auto Group with your vehicle. Visit us at desertsunmotors.com or 575-437-7530.
Jake Roberts and RE/MAX of Alamogordo is ready to help you buy or sell your home today. Jake's experience and knowledge of the local market will get you the best value. Most of all, Jake is committed to making the best of your real estate experience. Trusted names in our community. Jake Roberts and RE/MAX of Alamogordo. Call Jake anytime at 446-8574. That's 446-8574. You can also email jakeroberts@remax.net.
You're listening to ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. Welcome back to the KNMZ Football Roundtable. We are moving on to a few more college games. This is, I feel like unfortunately, it is a way to kind of see where UTEP is at as a program. The fact that Abilene Christian is going to play, I only see 3 games on their schedule right now. They're going to play West Texas A&M, and I think they're playing Army as well this year. And this will be their first game of the year. That they're only 4.5-point underdogs at UTEP, and not to mention they're also an FCS team, which is the step below where UTEP plays, and it just goes to show you where the odds makers think that UTEP is at. And mind you, they barely beat. Who did they open up the season with? It wasn't Houston Baptist; it was somebody else. But
Just for clarification, did you say UTEP is favored?
yeah, 4.5.
Okay, because I'm showing it to be a wash.
Pick them. Maybe the money may the money may have moved towards Abilene Christian. That's kind of scary.
This morning, I think they were still 4.5.
Okay.
All right.
So, I understand you got to start from somewhere. The UTEP program is probably a baddest position I think we've probably ever seen them, and that's unfortunate. I mean, nobody wants to see that, but it's definitely a tough one to see them struggle the way that they are. Brandon, who you got, UTEP or Abilene Christian?
Oh, it's one of these uneasy picks. I'm going to go with UTEP because they're already 2 games into the season. They've probably hopefully worked out a few bugs. versus Abilene Christian, this is really their first game.
Yeah.
So that's really the only reason why I'm going with
No, it's
I love
fair.
this show.
Well, and I also, I mean, look at how bad UTEP played against Texas last week. I mean, that was really ugly. So I understand Texas is at a different level, but this to me, I'm very intrigued to see how this game turns out for just, I guess, morbid reasons. I don't know. Tim?
Well, Abilene Christian only gets 3 shots at winning a game this year because that's all they got on their schedule, according to ESPN.com. And that would make sense. Some of these small schools aren't part of any conference that's possibly playing, and they're in Texas, so maybe they're allowed to play, and they're just trying to find anybody and everybody who will play them. So, yeah, they're going to be a practice team who's going to get some games in. I know Abilene Christian because I had a friend who went to school there, Daniel Manning, not my friend, or Danielle Manning, who played for the Bears. He was a good football player. He graduated from Abilene Christian. But UTEP, man, I've really come to admire them, like them in a kind of like a little Giants kind of way, like you want them to pull through. And then when my youngest son was born, he was in the hospital at Las Palmas, which is right across the street from UTEP. So I'd walk the campus quite a bit, and I have a heart for them, so I'm going to go for UTEP in this game.
And I should also mention, Abilene Christian, we've seen athletes and kids from the area, and especially New Mexico, a lot of athletes go out to Abilene Christian and play, just like West Texas A&M and a few others. So there's definitely, I'm sure, some connections here in the local area to Abilene Christian, too. Jake?
I have no reason, but I'm going to take UTEP.
I think more than anything else, UTEP should win this game. They're an FBS team. This is an FCS team. And on top of it, Abilene Christian isn't a very good FCS team. If it was one of the top, and we were talking South Dakota State or something, I would probably pick against UTEP in that particular instance. But I just feel like UTEP should win this game. But I'm just surprised somebody hasn't jumped out there with Abilene Christian yet. So, Manny?
Attached to all the front of the lockers at UTEP should be a little decal that says, beat the people you're supposed to beat, especially in your house. That applies to this game. I'm going UTEP. Go Miners.
All right, another ACC matchup. It's kind of what we got right now. I think next week we finally get into the SEC and more Big 12 games. Boston College and Duke. Duke getting 6, coming off the loss last week to Notre Dame. Boston College. Is this their first game this year? I think second game. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you guys usually have been on that one.
I have no idea.
It's all good. I've got the sheet right here in
I
front
remember
of me.
seeing it earlier, but yeah, I can't.
See, that's my
It could be
fault.
their first game, it could be their second game, but it is definitely going to be a game.
Yeah, it is.
I can say that for sure.
It is their first game. So this is the first one that BC's playing this year. We'll see if Duke can bounce back, and it's another one of those. Do we think having a game underneath their belt will make a difference for them? Tim?
Boston's first game.
Yeah.
Well, I know that Boston College will win next week because they played Texas State, and they lost to UT San Antonio. I got that one right last week, guys. So how about that? I thought Duke looked pretty good against Notre Dame last Saturday, but again, Duke plays football, so I'm going to go with a Matt Ryan-less Boston College. That's what I'm going for.
Duke plays basketball. You mean?
Basketball.
What did I say?
Football.
No, they don't play football.
They do play
shouldn't.
football. Just don't play football as well as they do basketball. Yeah.
Thank you for correcting me. My mind was working slower than my mouth.
Jake.
I was following with the logic. However, other than last week, because they played Notre Dame, I've had a hard time picking Duke games. Period. Me and Duke I can't seem to get them right.
Never pick Duke. Never.
Well, I'm not picking them this time. I'm going to stick with Boston College, but I'm sure they'll prove me wrong like they did last year too. So.
Okay. So you both went BC.
We're taking BC.
David Cutcliffe has done a really good job at Duke. I mean, this is one of those programs that was perennially 1-11, 0-12. He makes them consistent. They're never going to win a championship or anything, but they are at least good enough to be competitive in the ACC. I think at home, also having the game underneath their belt, I'm going to go Blue Devils. Manny?
Yeah, I'm perplexed on this. I'm getting mixed signals. The football power index has it 55-45 Boston College, but they're on the road and Duke is favored. Has got a 6-point favorite. I liked the game last week that they put up. I like their quarterback, so I'm going Blue Devils.
Brandon?
This is Boston College's first game. They got a new head coach, and I really like the way Duke played last week too. I think they hung in there. They put up a fight. And if I remember right, and I don't remember their exact record last year, but last year they had a pretty decent season too. I mean, so, I think maybe this is Duke's time to kind of maybe turn that football program around a little bit. I don't know if they're going to be a top 10 team, but I think they're trying. So I like Duke at home.
Yeah, 5-7 last year. They were again, but they usually are in that 5 to 8 win range pretty much every single year. Which I think again at Duke we talk about it. It's a basketball school. Some of these smaller schools like this, like Duke, it's harder to field a football team, I believe. All right, Central Florida headed to Georgia Tech. How about Georgia Tech getting the win in Tallahassee last week over Florida State? Man, Florida State is just. I know that it's another head. Mike Norvell coming in and new head coach again, but boy, Seminoles fans, they won a national championship within the last decade. It's almost hard to believe that they're struggling as much as they are. But they're not playing this game. Georgia Tech does play another Florida team, and Central Florida I think thinks themselves the champion of the world, and they declared a national championship a few years ago, so why not? They're getting 7.5 on the road here. Jake.
I think it's going to be a lot worse than 7.5. I think UCF is going to blow out Georgia Tech.
Okay. I picked against Georgia Tech last week. I'm just going to be consistent because I know if I switch on it, they're gonna lose this week. So
go ahead and switch on it, Charles. I need a game.
I think I guess Central Florida is better than Florida State. I think we kind of knew that going into this year, but it still feels weird to say. Manny?
Yeah, the Ramblin' Wreck. What happened last week? I didn't get to watch the game, but what happened?
They won 16-13.
I know that. I know
yeah.
that. I was surprised. But the UCF Knights are favored by 7.5, and the Football Power Index has them winning with 78% chance of winning. So I'm going to have to go with that. Knights.
Brennan?
Yeah, I'm going to go UCF.
Tim?
I said never take Duke in football, never go against UCF in football. They win like 95% of the time. UCF.
Definitely helps who they play, though.
Well, or does it help? Because they don't make it to the bowl.
It doesn't help in that way, but in terms of actually winning games, it definitely helps a little bit.
And so just a question for the panel. Just think about this. What about mentality of these young players? These are young men, right? And are they going 100%? Or do you think some of them are kind of sandbagging a little bit because they don't want to get injured and they're worried about their future?
If you don't go 100%, you're going to get injured more than if you go 100%. So I think, how do you turn it off and on? These pros turn it off and on potentially, but kids, man, all in all the time. That's my feedback.
You got to think that they're trying to impress scouts and get to that next level too.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that you question. I mean, are they going 100%? I'm sure that there are concerns in terms of COVID, but if you're going to partake, you might as well just go for it and not worry about that at this point. If you're part of the team and you're traveling and doing all that stuff, if it happens, it happens.
Fun question.
Yeah. So,
just questioning.
No, I think it's a legitimate question. I think it as with everything else this year, there's so many things that you don't know how people are going to react and how these players and how coaches. I mean, are coaches focusing the same way that they normally would too? I mean, I certainly would say that coaches that are a little up there in age. You have to think that it's at least on their mind.
Because I read that a couple of the offensive linemen for the Hurricanes were leaving the program and getting ready to go pro.
Yeah, and that's happened in some cases when somebody gets hurt, that they'll decide, I'm just not. There was one of the players for Ohio State a couple of years. I don't know if it was one of the Boses.
The Boses,
yeah. I can't remember whether it was Nick or Joey. I get him confused. Did a similar thing. So we've seen this, but I think obviously with what's going on right now, it's changing things up. There was the one player for Ohio State that because they weren't playing, he was going to go to the draft, and he's now rethinking that he may come back to the program since they are going to play. All right, transitioning over to the NFL. The Bills going on the road playing the Dolphins. I just hope that we get the Ryan Fitzpatrick that played last week and not the guy that shows up and throws 5 touchdown passes, because
Fitzmagic.
Well, and that's who he is. Everybody was like, "Oh, Fitzmagic didn't show up." I was like, "No, he kind of did." This is like he's either going to be the guy that goes out there and throws for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, or he's going to throw 4 interceptions. I mean, it's who he is. The Bills are a little short-handed on defense. That sort of concerns me. But Josh Allen, if he can just stop fumbling the ball, I mean, that was the issue. That game should have been a 40-0 blowout, and the 2 fumbles he had really were what kind of let the Jets at least be competitive in that game. The Bills should win this game. They're the better team. I guess my question is going to be for Miami, how soon do they pull the trigger and go to Tua Tagovailoa? Or do they let him sit the entire year and learn? That's the thing I'm curious about more than anything else with the Dolphins. But I'm going to go Bills.
I wouldn't want him to learn too much from
What, the Dolphins? Oh, from
yeah.
Fitzpatrick. I got you. I'm going to go Bills. Manny.
Yeah, I like Buffalo on this one. 5.5 favorites. Over and under is only 41. Put me down for the Buffalo Bills, which will come out tonight.
Brandon.
Yeah, I think everybody was pretty impressed with Buffalo's performance last week, other than a few little mistakes. But maybe they're on for a good season. I hope for you, Charles. For you,
they should be. I mean, they've got with Diggs in the mix there. I mean, I think Allen threw for over 300 yards last week, which was not something he's done a whole lot in his career.
312.
Yeah.
Didn't he throw an interception too?
I don't think so. I think he said the
Was
two
it just the
fumbles.
fumbles? Okay.
Yeah.
anyways, Buffalo.
Okay. Tim.
This is what we do, man. Like, 1 week, we're like, oh, that team's 1-0. They're never going to lose. That team lost a game. They're never going to win a game. Okay, Miami barely lost to New England in New England, 21-11.
With 3 interceptions from Fitzpatrick.
And Buffalo beat the New York Jets. Like, calm down. If you want to crown them, but I don't. I'm going Miami.
Miami always plays New England hard.
Yeah, they do.
Always.
They always do.
Always. Like, they could be. You can have a Super Bowl team, and Miami will go up there and beat.
But some of the best
Patriots.
games I've ever seen are Buffalo in Miami.
Yes,
Think about it. Remember that game in the snow?
Yes.
There'll be some great playoff games.
Because I want to say that New England was going to go undefeated again, then they meshed up with freaking Miami, and Miami blew them out, or some
There was a late season game. I remember it was like orange jerseys and Jason Taylor and things like that. But was I crowning them? I didn't think I was crowning them. I was
all a little-
their defense. I mean,
It's always going to be a little hyperbolic, all right?
oh, I agree. After week 1 in the NFL, for sure. I mean,
And my reaction to whatever you said is...
Cowboys fans, I mean.
Yeah, just put a fork in them, guys. They lost the game. Season over.
I hope before I take the long ride into the sunset that the Buffalo Bills get to be a Super Bowl championship team. Because I sweated it out all those years where they got to the Super Bowl all those times and then they lost again.
Yeah.
Oh, they lost again.
Yep.
And then again. And then again.
There was only 4 agains, all right? You added an extra one. I don't need an extra one, okay?
So there's a part of my heart that is out for the Buffalo Bills, okay? I'm just saying that. That has nothing to do with you, Charlie.
Oh, no. It's fine. So, Tim, after all that and the hyperbole and stuff, are you picking
I'm going Miami.
Oh, you're going to Miami? All right.
Listen, the Miami Heat are on fire, so let's see if that can kind of just sway a little bit to the...
Is Jimmy Butler playing
no.
this game? No, okay,
No.
just checking.
The Miami Heat are in a bubble. Miami, the football team, is not. Same thing, actually. I was going to point out the 2 fumbles. I mean, he did put 57 yards rushing, threw for over 312. I want to see Allen clean up his game a little bit. If he cleans it up, I do think that they're going to have a much better year, so I'm going to take Buffalo. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
They've got a hard schedule. I was looking at that. Their schedule it starts to get pretty ridiculous here soon. All right, this is Monday night. New Orleans going to Las Vegas as they open up the Death Star. It's not going to be nearly as exciting as it should be, but I still thought it was fun to see the new stadium in LA last week. That stadium is unreal, and it'll be fun to see
When did they start calling it the Death Star? Because I literally had never heard that until like just a couple weeks ago.
when they started putting the outside on it, and it had like this black look to it, and it's pretty. I don't know. It really doesn't look like the Death Star, but it's fun to.
It looks cool. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, it looks good. Manny?
It's a literal black hole. I thought that's what we were sticking with.
There is a black hole at the Death Star.
Right,
Don't worry.
okay.
Don't worry. Well, and I'm a little worried about this one. Sam Young and Trent Brown, offensive tackles for the Raiders. I'm not sure they're going to play, and so that's a worry. New Orleans, I mean, they look hot. They look hot. They look fast. They really look like they got get up and go. So this is not going to be an easy game. They're favored by 6. The over and under is 50, but this is going to be the USA Insurance 5-star lead pipe lock of the week. Go to the bank, cash the check, and put me down for the Raiders.
Gonna open
I
up
have to change my pick now. Hold on.
Gonna open up old Allegiant Stadium in style with a win.
Gotta do it.
All right,
Must win.
Brandon.
The Saints.
Tim.
No, I think this is going to be a good one. I have a buddy in Florida. I always send him the picks. He doesn't even consider college. He doesn't care. But for the pro, he's like, man, go with Vegas. They're at home. It's a Monday night. It's a home opener. I'm like, yeah, but nobody's going to be at the game. There's like, piping in sound is not the same as the crazy fans cheering. And so I know New Orleans is a little beat up, but I think the fact that they beat Tampa is going to be a bigger deal down the road. Again, we overreact, like, oh, Tom Brady's washed up. No, that was a big win. I'm gonna stick with New Orleans. They got Thomas coming back. I know he's supposed to be out. He's going to be in. And Kamara's going to have a bounce back.
Thomas is going to be out. I think I saw.
I was listening to your ESPN radio on the drive over here, and he is going to play, according to some ESPN girl.
Okay.
So,
My bad.
by golly.
I thought I read yesterday that he was going to be out.
And
so.
speaking of that piping in sound, some of them sounded good, but some of it sounded really horrible, like super fake. I'm like,
It is fake.
Well, I was having a hard time.
fake.
I was having a hard time telling last night because there were fans there in Cleveland, but I couldn't. I guess they were also supplementing it with some crowd noise too. So
Yeah, it's confusing.
it is weird. Jake,
It's nothing personal against Vegas. It really isn't. I'm taking New Orleans in this game. I think Breeze just looks too good. But I was wrong with the Rams when they opened up their stadium last week too. They kind of showed up. So I mean, I kind of want to see the Vegas get a win in their stadium for the first time. That'd be awesome. But I mean, it's Breeze on the other side. I got to go with New Orleans.
I was impressed with New Orleans' defense last week. I mean, they were just as big a part of. You look at the numbers, and the Saints' offense didn't have their. I mean, just lights out 350 yards passing for Drew Brees kind of game. It was the defense. I mean, they got a pick six on Brady. They picked him off twice in the game. I mean, they're. You know, New Orleans, especially the last couple years, has really rounded into a well-rounded team, which has been impressive to me. But, Manny, I hope your Raiders win. I really think they can, but I think the Saints are just a little bit too good right now for you guys.
Well, we'll see.
Okay.
Vamos a ver. Let's go see.
Let's go see. All right. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll finish up our NFL picks for this week. You're listening to ESPN Alamogordo 103.7.
Desert Sun Auto Group here in Alamogordo has your vehicle needs covered. Whether you're looking for a Chevrolet, GMC, Buick, Cadillac, Toyota, Honda, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram, Desert Sun's professional, knowledgeable staff is here to make sure you're taken care of. We're proud supporters of the Tularosa Basin sporting programs from Pee Wee Leagues all the way up to high school. If you're in the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle, I invite you down to Desert Sun and see why we get voted #1 auto dealer year after year by the people of Otero County. Also, if you're looking for a service center that you can trust and depend on, Desert Sun has the most experienced technicians in the area with several decades of experience. So when it comes to getting your vehicle serviced, trust the factory trained technicians with years and years of experience here at Desert Sun Auto Group with your vehicle. Visit us at desertsunmotors.com or 575-437-7530.
Jake Roberts and RE/MAX of Alamogordo is ready to help you buy or sell your home today. Jake's experience and knowledge of the local market will get you the best value. Most of all, Jake is committed to making the best of your real estate experience. Trusted names in our community. Jake Roberts and RE/MAX of Alamogordo. Call Jake anytime at 446-8574. That's 446-8574. You can also email jakeroberts@remax.net.
Hey, Otero County, if you are looking for a place to belong and for a place to grow in your relationship with God and with the people of God, then I want to invite you to Christ Community Church. At Christ Community, you will discover and walk in your divine purpose, which is to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. On Sunday mornings, we have 3 service encounters, 8:30, 10, and 11:30. We hope that you will come and experience the love of Christ and the fellowship of His people. 2960 North Scenic Drive or streaming online on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and at ChristCommunityAlamo.org.
USA Insurance Incorporated and Charles Garland and Harris Agency have joined together to create a new insurance team in Otero County. We will continue the personal service that you have come to expect, and we promise to continue to earn the trust that you have placed in us in the past. Now bigger and better than ever, USA Insurance, Charles Garland and Harris Agency, under the big red roof at 3310 North White Sands Boulevard, across from the White Sands Mall in Alamogordo. Call us at 575-439-9999 or visit online at myusainsurance.net.
There are no roadblocks scheduled today on either Highway 70 or 54 South. For the latest roadblock information, call 575-678-1178. Today's forecast is calling for sunny skies, clear tonight in Alamogordo. High of 84, low of 57 for Cloudcroft. High of 68 and overnight low of 37. For tomorrow, we're looking at continued sunny skies. Alamogordo tomorrow, high of 82, low of 57 for Cloudcroft tomorrow. High of 65 and an overnight low of 37 degrees.
You're listening to ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. Welcome back into the KNMZ Football Roundtable. And we move on to a few more NFL games here. And Carolina at Tampa Bay, kind of interesting. You know, Carolina played well against Vegas last week, and they're 8.5-point dogs at Tampa. I guess a lot of people feel like Tampa's going to bounce back this week after it was, you know, as much criticism has been leveled toward or thrown towards Brady. He wasn't his normal spectacular self, but it wasn't as if the Bucs were awful in that game. But certainly his mistakes made a big difference.
Those two interceptions were on Brady.
They were 100% on Brady.
They were not deflections or anything like that.
They were thrown inside when they should have been thrown outside.
One was
He's smarter than
slightly
that.
deflected.
Well, and one after the game, I guess after they watched the tape, Arians said it was on Evans. They said it was on the wide receiver, not the pick six, but the first one they said was on the receiver. So, you know, it's one of those things that
You just have to chalk that up to chemistry. I mean, it's not like Tom Brady's a bad quarterback. It's just maybe he's not.
I think with all these aging quarterbacks, it's not even so much chemistry they're a bad quarterback. At some time, at some point, Father Time catches up, and we're seeing it with Rivers, and we're seeing it with Brady. It will happen with Breeze, and there's a few others out there too. So I mean,
And then there's Manny, and he just is like a fine wine. He just gets better and smarter and better at picking every single year. It's phenomenal.
Well, I have nothing against Tom Brady. If he ever visited the town and after I retire, I'd take him to the senior show. We'll shoot pool, man.
there you go. Exactly.
Against Tom Brady.
Shuffleboard.
Will you talk about the Tuck Rule game though?
Oh, no, that will have to remain.
Jake, who you got in this one?
I'm still taking Tampa. I mean, Carolina's got some pretty good tools here, but I'm thinking Brady's going to bounce back. Brady's going to probably be really hard on himself this week. It doesn't matter what anybody else says, and I do think some of those mistakes were on him. So I think he'll clean that up, and I'm hoping Tampa Bay is going to win this game.
It was bound to happen that there was going to be a little bit of it wasn't going to be as good as everybody seemed to think it was going to be there in Tampa, but. I'm going to go Bucs, but man, I think it's going to be a close game, and I think it's going to be a one-possession game that could go either way. You know, Carolina's got a lot of talent. I thought Bridgewater played pretty well last week.
So you would take the points if we were doing it by the spread?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think if
You're
it's
crazy.
If it's a 7-point, if it's more than a 7-point game, I'd be a little surprised. Yeah. So, Manny.
Yeah, I think the Buccaneers are going to win this thing. When I close my eyes and try to think of something to dream about, how about a Buccaneers-Raiders Super Bowl?
And
how'd that work out?
And then it go the other way for you this time, right? Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Let's go revisit that, all right? I'm going Buccaneers on this one.
And it would be Gruden in it again. That would be kind of fun.
How cool would that be? Close your eyes. Imagine that.
It'd be historic.
Yeah.
And not only that, it would be Gruden maybe getting a little bit of revenge on Brady for the Tuck Rule game. I mean,
I just love all the ingredients are there.
It's a good story.
There's zero chance of any snow happening or anything like that, so you'd be good to go. Brandon?
You know, I think Tampa Bay, you know, home opener, I think it makes a difference.
Okay.
Tampa Bay at home.
2 letters. TB. Tim Brock, Tampa Bay, Tom Brady. That's it. Tom Brady. TB, baby.
Good job for thinking of that. I mean, TB12.
Sound like Dwight Schrute.
Go to my beet farm after this.
There you go. All right, Minnesota goes to Indy. Indy, I know that's right. Indy's a 3-point favorite in this game.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised by that. I mean, mind you, Minnesota had some issues last week for sure, but I still think Minnesota's probably the better team. And I think, yeah, toss-up, obviously, even though Brandon wasn't very excited to talk about his Indianapolis Colts after last week. So.
No, there's, you know, some injuries, and it's just not exciting. I don't know. I really thought it was gonna open up and be a lot more exciting than what it was. But
Why?
maybe.
What makes you think it was going to be exciting?
Because of Phillip Rivers, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's new team, he's got some good weapons, he's got a good, O-line, and, like, I just really thought maybe he would just open up and be like, bam, But it was like a boom, and it was like him going down. I don't know. But
Throwing interceptions and stuff. Yeah, I got you.
But, they're at home. They're favored by 3. I hope that they can turn it around and come out with the win.
Tim.
I marked down Minnesota, but I love Indianapolis, and I love Phillip Rivers. So one of these teams is going to go 0-2. And so my logic is always, man, if the team's 0-1, going against a team that's 1-0, go with the team that's 0-1. But that doesn't work in this situation. But I'm going to go with the Colts at home. They got to win.
Jake.
I think that loss of Marlon Mack's going to be a problem for Indy, and I'm going to trust Adam Thielen instead. So let's take the Vikings.
I think Minnesota played a really good Green Bay team. There was somebody on this table that said that Green Bay was going to take a step back this year. I don't know who that person was.
I didn't say a huge step back.
I didn't say huge either, but you said they were going to take a step back. Huge.
Hey, guys, again, crown them. If you think
them.
they had a good game.
Aaron Rodgers flashes this all the time, but
RELAX. Relax, guys.
That's probably true, but I think Minnesota is a little bit better than what we saw last week. I think they'll have a bit of a bounce back. I still think it's going to be a close game. There's a joke on the Dan Le Batard show that Phillip Rivers is always got the football with 2 minutes left and down by 3. It's just his life, so it'll probably be that kind of game. So, but I'm going to go Vikings, Manny.
I couldn't figure out what was more surprising. Minnesota losing to Green Bay 43-34 or Indianapolis losing to Jacksonville 27-20.
The latter.
I was surprised. Anyway, I think Indianapolis has got some issues with their wide receivers, some questionable injuries, so I'm going to have to go Minnesota rebound on this one.
Brennan. Oh, we already did you. Sorry.
What, you want to guess again?
Are you thinking I might be second-guessing myself?
I was trying to do 2 things at once, and obviously that didn't go well for me. All right, Atlanta going to Dallas. Talk about a couple of 0-1 teams. The Falcons weren't terrible last week against Seattle, but I think we got to see how good Seattle could be this season. Dallas didn't have a bad game, if not for we'll say a questionable offensive pass interference call at the end of the game. They have a chance to either tie or maybe even win that game against the Rams. So I would be discouraged if there were a lot of Cowboys fans that were already packing it in for this year. And I would say the same with the Falcons. So I think it's going to be entertaining. A lot of talent on both sides. Could be fun to watch. Tim.
Yeah, I picked both teams to win last week. That didn't work out well for me. Dallas is back at home. I think they have some fans allowed to be at the game. I know I bought tickets to a game coming up. Anyway, Atlanta, I think, is going to rebound this year. I think that they ran into a really hot Seattle, Russell Wilson, freaking awesome game. So it's going to be tough, but I'm going to go with Dallas. I think they've got to win. They can't go 0-2. They're going to burn the city down if that happens, and we don't need any more of that.
See, but I think it's interesting. I think Dallas can go 0-2, and they won't be in deep trouble in that division.
True.
It's such an average division this year.
True, but Cowboy fans, like Stephen A. Smith says, I don't dislike the Cowboys. I dislike crazy people. I dislike crazy Cowboy fans, and I do too. And I'm one of them.
Jake.
I think both teams definitely have a chance to rebound, but I'm not really that impressed with the Falcons' defense at all. So, if Dallas can get a stop or 2, I think they'll win this game.
Nice.
I'm going to go Cowboys. I think the home is a little bit of it, and Atlanta, unfortunately, with Dan Quinn there, it's hard to have a lot of confidence in what they do. Then again, there is the unknown of Mike McCarthy in Dallas. So, but I'm going to go Cowboys. I think it was a close game last week. I was more impressed with how they played. Manny?
I still think that Dallas, pound for pound, man for man, is still one of the best football teams in the league. They got to win at home. I'm going Cowboys.
Brent?
Seems like whenever I pick the Cowboys, they lose. So I'm going to do my friend next to me, Tim, here a favor, and I'm going to go Atlanta. Okay. So that the Cowboys don't go 0-2. How's that? I'm going to throw that one in there just for you,
I
Tim.
think it's a good pick. I mean, it's one of those that he can very easily get one on all of us. All right, Rams going to Philly. Philly is just a 1-point favorite. Man, what about the Eagles last week? That was
surprising.
You go up 17-0. You let Washington score 27 unanswered on you. That's That's bad. That's real bad. I think it's a tough one to pick. I like the Rams. I like their defense, even though they've got to make the cross-country road trip, so I'm going to go with L.A. Okay?
Yeah, you got to go all the way across the country. That's a heavy trip. I'm going to go Philadelphia. I'm going to go Philadelphia on this one.
All right. Brandon.
Man, you know, I thought LA played pretty good. It's a pretty even matchup. I'll go Rams. I really don't know on that one, but I'm gonna go Rams.
Tim.
I would just like to point out that Brandon called me his friend.
Yeah, you're like,
Thank you.
out of the 5 of us, like you're in the top 5.
Thank you.
That's a nice callback. I like that.
I will accept it. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Rams. I hate the Eagles, and I don't want them to rebound. And I think the Rams are sneaky. Kind of, they took a step back after losing the Super Bowl. Anyway, I think the Rams.
Okay. Jake.
Philadelphia's won their last 6 games against the Rams. 6-0. They're going 7-0.
Very good. New England headed to Seattle. 3.5 for Seattle. This is the Sunday night game. I'll be interested to see what Cam can do against that Seattle defense. Manny, who do you like?
I'm going to go Seahawks on this, although I know there are no Seahawks and there are no lime green ones, but I'm going to go ahead and go Seahawks on this one.
Brandon.
I'm gonna go Seattle too at home. You know, it's just a tough place to go into and win. I think New England's still, working some things out. I heard they did pick up another quarterback though this week. He's like a 6'9" quarterback.
Brock Osweiler.
No.
I know that one. I'm not sure who they picked up.
Yeah, and so they just signed him. He is not going out to replace Cam Newton yet, but.
I'll check that out.
Yeah.
Tim.
Cam Newton played really good. This is going to be a tough game, but I'm going to follow the same logic as you guys and say Seattle. They looked so good last week.
Jake.
I have tons to say, but I'll just say Seattle.
I don't think home field makes too much of a difference here. I think Seattle's the better football team. That's what's going to make the difference. And then the Giants headed to Chicago, who inexplicably came back and won last week. They're 5.5-point favorites in this game. Brandon, who do you like?
I'm going to go Chicago home.
All right.
I think Saquon Barkley has a bounce-back game. I'm going to pick the Giants.
All right. Jake.
I still think Chicago's going to be a really, really good team this year.
So you're on Chicago. Yep. I'm going to go with Tim on that one. I'm going to go Giants. Chicago scares me. Maybe.
Chicago came back against the Lions. I like them at home. Put me down for the Bears.
All right, y'all. That's going to do it for the show for this week. We will talk to you next week right here on the KNMZ Football Roundtable on ESPN Alamogordo 103.7.